Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my corner of the internet. My name is Jason and we're playing the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Last time we went ahead and we did a quest for the Temple of Arkay, and that ended up with us getting a new title. We are now an Acolyte. So, in this episode, I want to go ahead and do another quest for the Temple of Arkay, but first we need to deal with this pesky little lycanthropy problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to run over here to this house. I was kind of hoping to be able to lockpick it, but that's not going to work evidently. So we're going to go ahead and break down the door and then try to rest in here. And now that should, well, I guess saying it should after it's already happened is a little bit strange, but basically that will summon guards so that I can go ahead and do the slaying of them, and hopefully they will count towards my, we'll say, innocent slain, so that I can go ahead and transform back into my human form. That's sort of my goal, my hope, my desire for this one episode. So we're gonna go ahead and slay this guy who's got I don't know, he's got abs through his plate mail, which I find absolutely hilarious. We're gonna go ahead and transform back into our human form, re-equip our weapons. Actually, you know what? What do we got here? Elven Tanto, steel short sword. Why do I have a steel short sword? What kind of garbage is that? I don't need a steel short sword. We're gonna use that sword there. Wait, am I carrying two swords? Unequip, re-equip. All right, Alexis is now carrying two blades in her hand because of a graphical glitch. But I like to think that she's just very, very skilled at holding multiple blades. Yeah, that sounds good. We will go with that. So I realize my stamina is getting low, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and rest first. We're gonna go ahead and find a tavern. We're gonna go in there to sort of nap it up a little bit until morning, and then that way there we will be all rested up, full magic, full stamina, and we will be ready for our adventure. Any adventure that may, we'll say, come our way. So we're gonna go ahead, rest until fully healed. Things will get all filled back up. Wow, jumping, lockpicking, hand-to-hand, and critical strike have all gone up. I'm sensing a level up some point in Alexis's future. At least I'm really hoping there will be one. Because I feel like it's been a little while. Let's see, what level are we? I can't remember. We are level 9, I believe, right? Yes, we're level 9. I'm kind of excited and waiting to get to level 10. Because, well, level ups are always exciting. They're always fun. But on the other hand, you know, there's also the fact that it makes my spell stronger. I think that's one thing that makes magic so powerful in this game. And we'll say the early... Actually, I don't even know how magic exactly works in the later Elder Scrolls games. When I played Oblivion and Skyrim, actually both of them I played, no, not Oblivion, I know how it works in Oblivion, but in Skyrim I played primarily a melee character, so I'm not sure exactly how it works there. I guess we'll find that out. I'll find that out. But you know, the fact that the spells scale with your level, and that's what makes mages so powerful end game, is that, you know, by that point you're a higher level, you got a lot of spells that maybe scale a lot with levels. They don't have a lot of magic costs, so you can just keep casting them and you're just unstoppable. But anyways, let's go ahead and get a quest from this guy. As a matter of fact, we could doubtlessly use someone like you. There's a desecrated temple nearby called Clerkba Cultus. You may have heard of it. For some time it has been a home to evil, but we have ignored its influence. It is a counterbalance to other forces after all. Now the balance has been upset. I need someone to right it. Sound like something you could help with? Alright, I'm not sure exactly what they want us to do. I think they want us to go in and basically just slay everything. I don't know. Well, let's find out. Yes. Excellent, Alexis. What we need is to have a certain powerful lycanthrope who has established its lair in that unholy Clerkba Cultus slain. It is threatening the expansion of our order in that area. If you're not back here after 24 days have passed, we will move against it ourselves, and your reward will be forfeit. Obviously, you had best be on your way. Fare thee well, and best of luck. Alright, so we need to go to some place to slay a werewolf. It seems like lycanthropy is just following Alexis everywhere. Let's go ahead and save the game as, we'll say, I want to save this one as Arkay 2, because we're doing our second Arkay quest of our set. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll save it as that. I'm gonna name my working saves. It'll make things a little bit easier for me when I'm getting things started here. So anyways, sorry. We need to go to Clerkbuck Cultus. And we should be able to find that on our handy dandy map. So, I've already forgotten how to spell it, so I'm gonna hope that KLER will bring us exactly to where we want to go, and it will. So, let's see, travel time 1 day. This is actually a little bit frightening, because I'm like, okay, it only took us a day to get there, but he's giving us 24 days to complete it. This means that this dungeon has the potential of being really, really big. I love how there's just this wooden door and this, like, rock outside. Now watch, I'm gonna go through the door, and it's gonna be this expansive dungeon. But then again, you know what? There's no reason to believe that this door here is exactly the one that's up there. If we look, you know, maybe there's a set of stairs in the darkness there that leads up to the top. Oh, hello. There's someone over there. We're gonna go ahead and say this as Dungeon, because we are now inside of a dungeon. So because I see an enemy over here shooting arrows at me, I'm gonna go ahead and attack them first. I'm gonna sort of move back and forth so they can't really get a beat on me. And hopefully they'll go down quick. Sorcerer just died. Okay, pick up that gold. And that's good. We should be good there. Alright, so let's take a look at the map. Actually, this doesn't look like it's gonna be that big of a dungeon. Like, it's still pretty big. It's still decent, but it's not as big as some of the larger, we'll say, story dungeons we've tackled. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and pick a path and start walking through this area. Now, I was actually thinking about this the other day, because I believe I had mentioned before how I wanted to do sort of a comparison video as I go through the series, you know, go back and touch on the previous games and sort of do a comparison of which direction the entire series is going in. And I started thinking about, you know, I talk about Morrowind a lot because that's my favorite game, and I was thinking, okay, you know, I'm going to be doing a comparison between Daggerfall and Morrowind eventually. And one of the things that jumped out at me, I'm like, wait a second, one thing I'm going to miss from both Arena and Daggerfall are the randomly generated quests. You know what, they're not always very deep. They're actually, most of the time, they're pretty sort of formulaic. You know, that just sort of comes with the territory. You know, when you have procedurally generated quests and that, you're not going to have, you know, these fantastically well handcrafted quests and experiences. But at the same time, I feel like it takes... Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, it kept swinging and it's like, you can't use the sword. No, stupid, you can't use that Stupid, stop using the sword. Alright, I think I'm paralyzed. Am I paralyzed? I don't know, I just can't move. Okay, I need to figure out what to do. Let's go ahead and... I have no idea I don't even know what I'm fighting against. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let me think about this. We have a paralysis dart. That's a whole 90 points. If it fails, then I'm screwed. I could use healing. Healing would be good. I could also use spell resist. Okay, we're gonna use... I'm not successful in healing? Oh, that's right, that spell won't work. Okay, Jason, stop panicking and think. Let's just start... Actually, let's just start blasting her with paper cut. Or I can die, that works too. I guess I can die. I'll be right back after I get back to where I was. Okay, I hear the laughing again. Alright, so whatever that is... It's in the next room here. It's just around the corner. It has more than one voice. All right. So I need to come up with a plan. I can't hurt it with my weapon, so obviously I'm going to need to be using spells. So let's see, what kind of spells do I have at my... Darn it, I really don't have a whole lot at my disposal, do I? I should have got more combat spells. I figured I could just go ahead and, you know, I'll just use... I don't know, I figured my sword would be enough. Then again, wait a second. Let's go into our inventory. Shut up, please, that's already annoying. We do have this mithril broadsword. Now, it's a long blade, but it is mithril. So, let's go ahead and try this sucker out. Now, I'm going... it's going to try to use spells on me. So let's go ahead and try casting our magic resist. Hopefully that will, yeah, spell resistance. Let's go ahead and cast that, and hopefully that will help us survive this a little bit more. Or yeah, there you are. Okay, come on. I feel drained. That's nice. Oh, what the heck? Okay, I think I understand what... Daedra Seducer. Okay, I was like, wait, is that like a succubus? Because after like the first hit, it's like, all right, well this just got really weird and awkward. All right. That's a new, interesting, we'll say enemy. Now, I do know now that it is a Daedra, which means, actually wait, I'm feeling drained. Let me see my stats. Doesn't look like anything's damaged. When things are damaged, it tends to be, turn red, right? So I don't think any of my stats have necessarily been damaged, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what that did when it said that I'm feeling drained. I couldn't tell. I can't tell if that was, you know, it was draining my magic or draining my whatever. Well, let's take a look here. If I've got 70 magic left, then that would mean that I had used, we'll say, a total of 53. I think my math is right there. And I used 53 for spell resist. So no, it wasn't my magic that I felt drained of. Interesting. Okay, I guess we'll have to wait, cancel. Let me see my status. Am I healthy? I am healthy. Okay, now I can go ahead and save. That would have sucked. Okay, so whoa, we've got all kinds of new enemies coming at us this time. Although I believe that we've seen you before. A fire Atronach. And you know what, we're gonna go ahead and switch back to our dwarven Wakizashi because I want to hang on to that mithril blade, you know, just in case. It's sort of a backup weapon here, just in case we run into another one of those Daedra seducers or Daedras in general, because evidently we need, we'll say, much better weapons to be able to handle them. But like I was saying earlier, before I was so rudely killed, like, seriously, people, I'm trying to talk here. I'm going to miss the randomly generated quests. Now let me make the jump here. I made it. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I like the idea of having quests that aren't, we'll say, set in stone. And you know, even though they can get kind of repetitive, especially when you do a lot of them, it ensures that you've always got something to do, kind of thing, right? Something to do, just kind of thing, right? Yeah, that's a great way of putting things, Jason. I don't know, I like it. It adds something to the game. Like, I don't think that, we'll say, it should all be completely randomly generated quests. Oh. Okay. I hear the laughing. I'm like, okay, let's break out the big sword. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and save the game once again as Arkay 2 before we get into this little fight. I'm not sure if it's through this door though. Oh, it's getting louder, so yeah, there's a good chance that it is. Oh, maybe not. Hello? Creepy lady. Are you over here? And now silence. Silence is so much more unnerving than, you know, actual sound. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and jump over this and head on over to this door over here. And whenever I see these tables now, though, I associate those with werewolves. And since we've come into this dungeon seeking out a werewolf, I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, oh, and then I get hit with that disappointment because there's no werewolf in the room, and I don't know. Dungeon crawling, you gotta be kind of in the right mood for. I suppose if you're playing Daggerfall, you should be in the mood for, we'll say, dungeon crawling. What the heck is that supposed to be? A loincloth. Okay. That's what I thought. Just needed to make sure that that's what I was looking at. Alright, so I'm going to... Alright, let's head on back this way. That was obviously a dead end. Let's try to jump across that again. I hate these holes here, because I've jumped so many times. Oh, okay, there's just an enemy down there. So many times I've tried jumping over them, only to kind of jump into the wall, next to them, and then I basically just clip through the entire map, and it's like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, crud. I believe that's a nymph. So we've got a fire atronach and a nymph, I think that is. Alright, come on. Alright, the nymph just died, and I'm still waiting for the fire atronach to get up here. But anyways, like I was trying to discuss, even because I kept forgetting on what I was talking about. I English good, yes. Anyways, I think the reason why I like the procedurally generated quests as part of, we'll say, the entire experience is because they add to that create your own story sort of element to these early games. I've talked before about how, you know, I like it when games sort of give you the tools. They kind of give you the backdrop and the, holy crap, I didn't even know there was a door there. I find it funny that the nymphs have tended to be some of the scariest things I've encountered in this game. Oh, wow. Anyways, it's that whole idea of, you know, the game is sort of, it's sort of I hate using the term sandbox, but it is kind of a sandbox in, we'll say, the traditional sense of, you know, it's a place that has, we'll say, the tools for you to sort of just use your imagination and kind of, you know, just play something. And maybe sandbox is not the correct term. Basically, it's something that's sort of a framework that allows you to sort of craft your own adventures and your own stories. And even though, we'll say, like, the procedurally generated quests are not, maybe, we'll say, the most interesting in and of themselves, what they do is, because they are so randomized, because they're so outside the... Sometimes they can create absolutely ridiculous situations that you can find yourself in. What it does is it makes it a lot more about the player's choices and what the player is doing, and a lot less about what kind of story the developer wants you to experience. And I think that's a very big difference between early games and newer games, is that, you know, the old games, they had narratives, but it was a lot more about, we'll say, the player choosing their story. Like, even in really heavily narrative, we'll say, driven games back in the day, the fact that there were really no, like, cutscenes, and a lot of times there were, like, branching paths and stuff. Actually, you know, even... I've talked about this before, and I hate bringing up things I've already brought up before, and because I feel, you know, you kind of feel like you're beating a dead horse. You're like, yes, I know, I've talked about this before. You don't need to say it again. But, you know, say someone's coming in a little bit later, and they haven't watched the previous one. I'm gonna kind of try to maybe put a fresh spin on while still saying the exact same thing. Looks like we've come back to the entrance. Basically, oh man, where am I? Okay. We'll go back up north and back up the stairs. Okay. Basically, in the older games, I found they were more willing to put, we'll say, dangerous elements into the game. Things that would inconvenience the player. And I hear about that a lot, we'll say, when it comes to, we'll say, modern games. A lot of modern games are like, well, I don't want to deal with that inconvenience. I just want to play the game. And a lot of people seem to miss the idea. They tend to miss we'll say, the whole fact that these inconveniences are part of the game. You know, you play Monopoly and you go to jail. Listen, that's an inconvenience. You know, you go to jail. You do not collect $200. That is pretty darn inconvenient. And that is part of the game. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, that's how the game's supposed to be. Yeah, and if you put inconveniences in the game, like weapon durability and, you know, different little things like that, then those are part of the game as well. And an inconvenience it's not, unless it's, we'll say, related to the actual interface, like if it's really inconvenient to, we'll say, play the game, I kind of get that. You know, making sure controls are tight is always a good thing. You'll never hear me arguing against that. You know, the one major thing I love about Daggerfall from Arena is the ability to remap controls. Even though I'm actually perfectly fine with what I'm using, I did kind of remap things just to work a little bit better for me. And that's primarily because I need to kind of keep my head in the correct position while I'm commentating, or else things sound kind of weird and my voice kind of goes over here and it kind of goes back over here. So for me, it's easier to set things up so that I don't have to keep looking down at my keyboard all the time. You know, so normally though, I would have probably just said, okay, I'll learn. I'll just learn the controls and I'll deal with it. But it's definitely something I would never say was a bad addition. I think that was one of the great things that Daggerfall did over Arena, was adding rebindable keys. But like I was saying, it's inconveniences. They're great things. They add to the player's personal story. You know, right now, let's think about this story so far. So I was trying to deal with, we'll see, these main quests, but then, you know, I found myself weaker, so I had to go ahead and do some other things to sort of work my way up. So, you know, I'm going ahead and I'm doing quests and stuff for, you know, these little guilds, but on the way, you know, I've got to deal with my weapons either being too weak. You know, my weapons might not be able to hurt a certain enemy, so which causes me to have to run and hide and try to find other ways around the situation. My weapons can break, so can my armor. You know, there's a durability thing to take into account, and that's another thing I need to take into. You know, that's another thing in the game that makes things a little bit more complex and maybe a little bit more dangerous. You know, those can be inconveniences. So, you know, my weapons can be ineffective. My equipment can break. You know, I can run out of magic. You know, if we look at like future Elder Scrolls games, they like making everything start to regenerate. You know, Morrowind starts with the fatigue. You know, your fatigue bar starts to recharge on its own. Then Oblivion, you get your magic starts going up. And then in Skyrim, you get all of your bars. They regenerate over time. And it's like, I understand this whole thing. Like, they never fully, we'll say, nullify the need for, like, say, potions and stuff. Some other games, like you look at a lot of modern first-person shooters, you know, they've done away with health packs because they felt that was inconvenient. And it could be in a lot of ways. You know, I remember playing like Doom. I play Serious Sam. They've kept health packs in the entire series. And you know, sometimes you have a really bad section and you get hurt quite a bit, and you might not have enough health to beat the next part, and that can be a problem. But that, to me, that just sort of does two things. You know, one, it makes you want to play even harder. It raises the stakes a little bit. And we'll say, two, in addition to, we'll say, just raising the stakes, you know, maybe it adds in, we'll say, a new element of play to the game, where you're kind of like having to search around. You're like, okay, well, where can I find health? And then maybe you'll start exploring around, and if there's secrets in the level, you can go ahead and find the secrets, and then, you know, maybe you'll find health, you'll find some more ammo and stuff. It creates more of an exploration aspect to the game. And, you know, they've gotten rid of that too, because, well, people can get lost, so let's just put everyone in a corridor. Basically, like, I understand the want, you know, and what these developers are shooting for when they will say simplify things. You know, and a lot of it is probably done with great intentions. You know, you're getting rid of that inconvenience and you're focusing on just what the player wants to do. And you know what? To a degree, that's okay. That's fine, actually. I don't think that we should ever get rid of corridor shooters altogether. However, I don't think they should be the only games that we're making. Well, let's say as far as first-person shooters go. I haven't had a chance to try the new Doom, but from what I understand, you know, there's a little bit of that, we'll say, open air openness. You know, there's a bit of that exploration that's put back into the game, and I think that's fantastic. You know, I think it's great that we have some sort of variety, and I think that's really the key, is having I'll say a variety of different types of games, because, you know, some people just want, you know, straight up action. They can play a game that has specifically just the mechanics that they want, and that's great. But, you know, there should also be the catering to the audience that actually wants to use their heads and actually wants to, you know, put up with these so-called inconveniences, because we feel they add flavor to the games. All right, we're gonna go down these stairs here. So yeah, that's just sort of my thoughts. Like, it's maybe not necessarily that old games are... We'll say from a gameplay perspective, a lot of old games, they do play worse than newer games. But old games were not afraid to put things against the player that the player might find annoying. And in a way, annoyances can be a good thing. Yeah, I think that's the way I'll put it, is that sometimes those things that we deem annoyances are really what actually give a game its flavor. It's I don't know. it's something. It gives it that factor that makes it nice, makes it good. Because like I don't know. There's a lot of games that I like that you know, there's really no penalty for dying. It's like, oh, it'll throw you back a little bit and then, you know, you just sort of respawn and off you go again. There's really no penalty for dying, and I'm like, well, why? Like, why is that? I've seen some like horror games. I'm trying to remember what it was. It kind of had that same sort of mentality, and I'm like, no, you know what you need to do for, like, say, a horror game is you got to raise the stakes. Because if the person just feels like, okay, I can just come back and whatever, then it's not a big deal. But if you make it so that that player, they actually feel that sense of dread, like, oh my goodness, if I die, I have to go all the way back. There's actually a feeling of loss there. There's actual fear, not just of maybe what kind of scary thing they're gonna see around the corner, but there's also a fear of, I could lose progress. And that's kind of, we'll say, the best you can do in a video game is sort of play off, you know, you can't take away the player's life, obviously, but you can make them fear for their life in the sense that you can make them fear for the loss of the progress they had. So, you know, like, some of the games that have, like, limited saves, or you can only save at certain save points, I think that those are excellent. That's great that they, that they have those elements in the games. Yes, they can be annoying. Yes, it can be frustrating. But at the same time, it also gives you that real sense of fear. That, okay, if I die, I lose all this. I can't just be stupid and run through this. And it raises anxiety, and it will probably make other factors in the game scarier. Because your mind is being pulled in different directions. You're already anxious because of the mechanics of the game. Other elements of the game can, you know, work well against you because your mind is already so taxed and so stressed. At least that's my thought on the whole matter. All right, well, I am very sorry, people. This dungeon is, okay, actually, I think I'm gonna need to go up there. This dungeon is, we'll say, a fair bit, we'll say, larger than actually, no, this is about the same size as I was expecting. I was hoping, there's the word I was looking for. I was hoping this dungeon would be a fair deal, bit, we'll say, shorter, or smaller, or, you know, basically I would find what I was looking for immediately, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. So we're gonna go ahead and clear this one last room, and it's a very small room, and then I'm gonna have to call it quits because I actually am very busy today. So I'm sorry, this might be a shorter episode. I'll try to make it up to you in the next one. Anyways, so if you like the video, you like the content, and you would like to see more of it, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave it a thumbs down. Either way, let me know what you thought in the comment section. And until next time, I would like to ask you all to game on.